I think it's totally dumb that it's a new one for YouTube every time. You gotta like, if the stream goes down, does this work? I'm live. I'm leaving. Okay. Nope. So where does, oh, wait a minute, was that it? Nope. Let's play. Whatever, man. It's just like your opinion. Where do I want this? I want this in, where do I want this? Let's put it in method structure. 22601. Oh, god damn it. 01. 16. And I'm gonna call it seminar syllabus. I'll go to the screen in a second. Show all, hide stars, indent. Let's make that a little bigger. Put that over there so that you can see it. My head's not in the way. Just gonna try one more time to click on that. Yeah, okay. I don't know why it says it expires. That's weird. Like, why would it not just expire when it's done? Anyway, that rules. I'm liking that. Okay. We got the coffee. Try putting the... When you got two computers on your desk, and you're like, why doesn't it work? And you realize the mouse is on the other machine. I'm just gonna try to make stuff fit. Yeah. Streamplace is funny because there's like, if you make the window too small on a desktop, it starts to smush things. And so like stuff starts sticking out off of the end of the thing. Okay. The hell is that? Okay. Ignore this. We'll get to it in a minute. But the so actually, you know what? I'm gonna go to the paper. So my handwriting is terrible, but people don't pay me for my handwriting. They pay me to type and doodle on the screen. Hopefully the sound is transmitting. I'm just going to move my lav up a little bit. All right. Okay. So yeah, I have this thing. I'm calling it Semantic REST. Actually, I'm going to go. Okay. Go over here, and I'm going to go to fielding. And I'm going to go to, like, actually, let's. I really miss, like, personal CSS. Like, you could have, once upon a time, your own CSS. I guess I could grease monkey it. Ooh. I hadn't thought of that. Do I have it on? I do not. Okay. No. I want about add-ons. I must not have it enabled. Yeah. Probably because I wasn't using it for anything. Yeah, you're fine. How do you even do this now? What's this? Dude. How do you do? I guess you can do this now. Well, I don't like that. Create a new script. Do I even have this on? I don't have this on. Okay. What? What? Why does it say I'm offline? Weird. Why does it say I'm offline? Oh no, it says I'm. Oh, okay, that's weird. Stream place just crapped out on me. Am I still live? Does it still consider me live? Yes, it does. Okay, weird. Let's just have a this is weird. Okay. CSS equals, right? Because you can't do here docs in it. Or can you do just CSS in a, I just want to make this look less ugly. Like if I was gonna say, you know, okay, like inspect, and I was gonna say, like 10 unused custom CSS. Oh, that's you. Okay, who cares? Body, and then I want to say max width 70x. Hyphens, auto, text align, justify, margin, auto, font size, and then font family, penalty now. See, that looks nicer. But like, how do you do that? How do you like insert a CSS? Like, what's the easy way to insert a CSS? I don't remember because I never touch this stuff anymore. I mean, I certainly don't screw with CSS and JavaScript, but anyway, let's just. Can I copy? Can. Oh, not you, stupid. Copy selector. Or is it does that count as a rule or a selector? Anyway. Boop. Oh, God. That's I always get confused with the. Anyway. Okay, let's copy rule. Because clearly. I thought like the rule was the. Okay. Whatever. Okay. You know what? Let's just ask stupid ChatGPT. JavaScript to insert a parse and insert. Shut up. Yeah. Oh, perfect. All right. Okay. Back over here. I'm finding that like ChatGPT definitely lies to you, definitely wastes your time, but for crap like this, it is actually useful. And the reason why is because there's like so freaking much JavaScript in the training data. What is your problem? Oh, don't be a bitch. Swear to God, man. Okay. Do I need to save that, or is it just freaking work? Oh, I'm going to rename that. Fix fieldings CSS. Guess we don't. Guess that's not. Oh, I'm going to do that. Fix fieldings CSS. Now, does that work? Yes, okay, thank God. Right, it's the moment of truth. Boo! Am I high? What the frick? Does that have to do? I don't know, man. Do it. Oops. See, I need to find something that harmonizes. What did this do? Oh. I don't know. Now we're cargo culting. Oh. Was that it? Or do I need to turn on damn JavaScript? Oh, is this? Nope. Is that what it was? I don't think so. Oh, no script is running. Should be. I think you have to do that. Yes! Okay. That looks nicer. Okay. Okay. Client server. So, the thing about REST Sorry, my mom is sending me pictures of a white crow that she has befriended. Am I still live? Yes, I am. Okay. Why is everything so slow? Okay, so rest. So these are the ones that are interesting. Of course, nobody's on now, so I'm not going to talk about it yet. All right. Okay. Yeah. So rest. In my opinion, so like rest is way more profound, like bazillion times more profound than like what like, you know, a third hand blog post is going to tell you. And in my opinion, the important part of REST is these two bits here, the uniform interface and the layered system. And these heavily informed the design of Intertwingler, these two ideas. And the idea of REST, first of all, is that you have a uniform interface. You've got resources. Like the basic unit is the resource. Then it's like, okay, what is a resource? So I think definitely what's going is, what is a resource? Another thing that is important as the engine, hypermedia as the engine of application state, which I'm actually surprised only exists once in the entire PhD dissertation. I'm pretty sure it is a Hapax legomenon. I mean, I don't know if you can have a Hapax legomenon that's more than one word, but we'll just say that it is more than one. I mean, it is more than one word. I'm just saying that, you know what I'm saying. So yeah. So like in order to obtain a uniform interface, multiple architectural constraints are needed to guide the behavior of components. REST is defined by four interface constraints: identification of resources, so that is URLs, manipulation of resources through representation, so that is bytes, self-descriptive messages. So self-descriptive messages, I mean, that was the whole sort of idea behind like XML in the beginning, was like XML is putatively self-describing. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by self-describing, but like, where'd my brain just go? Yeah, so I mean, like JSON I mean, yeah, it depends on what you mean by self-describing, but like JSON and XML, you know, to the extent like when you know what like an element of JSON, like you know that there's a structure, whereas protobuf like does not have that. Like protobuf like you have no idea what the structural sort of semantics of protobuf is. You just get a bunch of stuff, and then you're like, I don't know, like what, maybe this is a field, maybe this is something else. Like you need the spec, the schema from the particular protobuf thingamajig to sort of decipher it. Same with, I was going to say same with like ASN1, but I don't think that's actually the case. I think, I don't know. I actually don't know that. But anyway, I mean, I think this is the key. Sorry, I'm just having a thinky. But yeah, this one paragraph is absolutely the key. But section 5.2, REST architectural data elements. I haven't read this in a while. I haven't read this since I read it in 2008, and I read it very closely. I printed it out. It's about 200 pages. Well, it's about 100 pages, double-sided and 2 up. Something like that. But so the representations like I'm not seeing anything here now. Tell you what, when somebody starts talking, I'm just going to read this. Somebody shows up. But data representation. So like effectively, like the issue that I see, at least, like it's a brilliant concept, like just REST in general, like REST qua fielding, at least, like is a very profound set of ideas, to the extent that he's like trying to define this abstract object called a resource, and then like what you do is you go and you manipulate resources, and that's how you like, but you need to sort of like build up the abstraction so that those are the things that you're working with. And that's really was sort of key to the design of Intertwingler, was to sort of like, you know, it takes care of the rest so that you can focus on whatever you're making. Because, you know, like otherwise it's sort of like, you know, when you sort of think about like, I'm going to make a RESTful API, it's like, well, first of all, like what you think that means versus what it actually means, you know, it's just sort of like, maybe, I guess you're sort of like, you're painting it on top, I guess is what I would say, is when you just think about REST in terms of APIs, it's like you're painting the REST on top of something else. You know, MVC, for instance, like I am pretty confident that MVC, like it definitely is more organized than the callback paradigm that preceded it, which is just like, we're going to write some PHP or ASP or JSP or Cold Fusion or whatever into some files, and that's going to be our website. So it's definitely more sophisticated than that. But I am sort of not super sanguine about it. I actually don't think that it's the best for the web. And I think the reason why is, I'm just gonna like re-up this. Because nobody here. Oh, there's somebody. Yeah, so web MVC, I don't think it's great. I think it is, it was something that worked for desktop computers. And, it was adapted to the web, and it's like, what we're going to do is we're just going to take this thing, we're going to put it on the web. And it's yeah, whatever, man, that makes sense. That's fine. Like, it's a rational thing to try to do. But we've had 2 decades of MVC, and prior to that, we had CGI scripts, and then somebody thought it would be a great idea to just take you can definitely see the projection. I remember CGI was how you did it. And before CGI, there wasn't anything, right? So the prehistory, if you wanted to make a web application, the prehistory of that was you had to write code straight into the web server. That's how you had to do it. And then there was NS API and Apache API and IS API. Those were things that were written directly, so you would write them directly into the server. And I have definitely written code directly into Apache. We used mod Perl back in 99 through 2005 or whatever. And what's cool about mod Perl is, just the Apache API in general, I should say, is that when you think of your typical web application like Rails or PHP, Django, whatever, right? If it's a framework or it doesn't matter. In the case of Rails and, whatever, there's going to be an adapter, and you would usually have it fast CGI, or more recently, you would have it just be its own HTTP server, and then you would have something heavier duty reverse proxy it. The bottom line is there's a bunch of ways to connect those, but, or you would have something like fast CGI. So CGI was an innovation in 1993, was this idea to codify the CGI, the sort of interface, such that you could write a frickin' shell script. And as long as it did the right things, it would read off the environment variables, it would read off standard in, it would read off the arguments, et cetera. And as long as you had stuff in the right thing, you could just bash out, literally bash. You could write out a bash script, and that could be a web application. So it was the bar to creating something on the server side was extremely low. And then somebody thought what we're going to do, because making templates and stuff is really kind of a pain in the ass. What we're going to do is we are going to make this thing called server-side includes. And that was just really just concatenating text strings together, and it would open a file and whatever, and you could have this thing exec CGI, blah, blah, and it would execute the CGI script into the thing. Now, the problem with CGI is that the script runs and then it exits for every request. And that just doesn't scale. And so then you have things like fast CGI, and what fast CGI does is it just basically is a drop-in replacement for CGI that runs that in a loop, and then so it'll run the CGI script in a loop, but then it'll keep a socket open to something, to the actual upstream server, downstream, upstream, down, whatever, it doesn't matter. And so, but effectively what happens, as implementations were coming online, people were well, why would I bother with this fast, why would I bother with fast CGI when I could just run an HTTP server and reverse proxy it? There's no point in FastCGI anymore. Like it doesn't now. And I would say like there is one thing that FastCGI does, and that is like it lets you kind of be inside the request versus HTTP, you're kind of outside of it. And I think though that the thing that really makes a difference though for that is JWT. So right now with Intertwingler, I just like hacked in, because it doesn't have any authentication because it's just a dumb thing, and you do the authentication like closer to the edge. Sorry, that's not exactly. You do the access control and the authorization closer to the edge. The authentication is read off of a JWT, and then it's shoved into the request so internally. And now that way, so for authenticated things, you can have like an arbitrarily long daisy chain if you must, I should say. You know, I wouldn't recommend that design exactly, but you could do it. And that's the point of this layered system idea of fieldings, like this guy. And the idea is you've got these elements here, and you can see there's one there, and you can see there's one here. You've got these. Basically, it's a proxy like thing. It's got a server side and it's got a client side, and then it goes and gets the stuff from an origin. And so the idea of a layered system is, I think, so it's the uniform interface in the layered system. What else does he have in here? Oh, cache, obviously. Yeah. Client server, stateless, cache. I mean, cache, in my opinion, cache is boring, but like necessary, which is why Sense Atlas is really freaking slow, is because I need to finish implementing the cache, and I'm just bored. I don't want to do it. That's not exactly true. I mean, I am bored and I don't want to do it, but I'm also trying to do like a 2-to-1 kind of marketing to engineering, because you're supposed to do more marketing than engineering. Anyway, so I'm gonna go back to the drawing. So we got resources, uniform interface. I don't want to call it that. So, oh yeah. I know what I was gonna say. RDF, and then it'll be like Y. So one of the things about Fielding's situation here is that, where are we here? So, sure. Yeah. So, Fielding's like, all right, hypermedia as the engine of application state. So what does that mean? The idea, and this is really, really, really profound as far as I'm concerned, is that every state in RESTs, in Fielding's sort of conceptualization of REST, every state has an address. Like every state has a unique URL, and the next state. So like you can imagine it as a finite state machine, probably like a non-deterministic finite state machine. Every state, like, so you're at the current place, right? You're at this current state. So this current state is this page. And of course you can even have fragments in there. And that's the thing is that the subsequent states are all on the page. And so that's what hypertext is, or hypermedia as the engine of application state. which is a mouthful. He later renamed it to the hypermedia constraint, but nobody says that. They call it HATOS or whatever. So this is from the year 2000, the future, and the idea of so the sort of hypermedia. So you can see he's got like hyper HTML document JPEG image. So a JPEG image is not hypermedia, right? Like there's no hypermedia in a JPEG image. It's a freaking it's a picture. There's no subsequent states to go to in a JPEG image. Now you can do bastard things in the headers and stuff, but then you're going to need to peel stuff out of that. That's going to be. I don't recommend that. But in the year 2000, there's only HTML is the only viable, hypermedia type. And the same thing goes again, like the media type. So like with this sort of idea, like the cool thing about this. About the uniform interface with the layered system, and I implement this, like Intertwingler has this, right? Is basically pipes with types. It's like Unix type pipes and filters, except like the pipes are typed. So you know what kind of thing is going through the pipe. That is like extraordinarily powerful. And so because just like a Unix command that you run on the command line, any of these sort of objects, so I'm going to go back to, this thing. Sure, these are all the same. But going back to like this diagram with this guy right here, like that's kind of what that is. Or maybe that's it. It doesn't really matter. But, or maybe that's it. And so the bottom line is that these are server elements with client elements on the other side of it, and that's what those represent. And so the idea that it is deployed currently in Intertwingler, I use it for stuff like converting images, resizing, whatever. I use them for adding backlinks to HTML files. So I got that idea from Apache filters. So in Apache 2, you can just operate over the bytes of an HTTP message. And you actually can do it in FastCGI as well, but I don't think there's anything that actually implements it on the server module side. And the effect of that, to me, is like, imagine that you have an area, right? And that represents your code. Like if you were writing a web app, the MVC way. But you've got like one side is just like business logic. And the other side is you can just reduce them to like functions over the stuff that your business logic is. So like turn this PNG into a JPEG or WebM or what's the other one that I can't remember. It doesn't matter. So you've got these like dumb operations that just operate over the bytes. And then you have the things that actually matter to your stuff. So the thing is like rather than have to fill this entire area, you just have to write code along the two edges. That's the difference. And each one, and the way that I'm making Intertwingler is each one of these is a microservice of its own. And so right now so eventually I'm imagining like Intertwingler will probably be written in Rust or something like the actual core engine. And then you can like write whatever in whatever language and then just make sure that it obeys the protocol. Intertwingler slurp it all up and then integrate them into content handlers or transform handlers, transducers if you want. And that's going to be how you make websites with Intertwingler. The core of Intertwingler more or less if I was I was walking home from the pool and I was like, if I was gonna describe it in one sentence, it takes an RDF graph database and turns it into a website. That's what it does. And when you do that, like that's basically like instant website. And of course, it is a website that you can write to using a protocol I designed. Super simple protocol that basically enables you to put RDF statements, like partial RDF statements, into a regular HTML form, and then the handler will turn that into graph diffs, and then just apply them to the graph, which is dirt simple. Now, there's no like validation, there's no like integrity, anything in that all needs to be written. That's all vapor. But like Sense Atlas, there's freaking nothing to it, man. You know, like this, like this thing is, I don't even know. It's like not, I think it's like, it's just templates and a little bit of JavaScript. There's nothing to it. And so you can make stuff like this on top of Intertwingler like dirt easy. And when you want to like, oh, I want this, I'll go over this at some point and make a modern, elite version of it. But like if all you wanted to do was just get graph statements into the graph on the website, and like if you want to, as long as you like each subject in the graph is its own URL and you can go to it, that's what Intertwingler does, like at the very, very, very core. And then like dispatching templates and stuff is like, if you like look at the source, you bring that up. Okay. Type of, yep. Okay. It's basically just RDFA. And then you transform that. Dirt easy, stupid easy, like embarrassingly easy. What else? Anyway, so that's like the kind of reason, like, and I mean, Intertwingler I consider Intertwingler just going to be like a platonic ideal of this stuff. Like how you deploy, like how if you want to like crib stuff from it, for your team, for your project, whatever. Oh shit. One second. Anyway, sorry, my girlfriend just said that she's on her way here, and she said I thought she was coming tomorrow. Damn it. I thought I had another day. Where was I? Okay. Okay, no, she's not. False alarm. She just dropped off her new dog at the Borders, but she has a bunch of work to do, so she's not coming. But she just sent me a message about dropping the dog off and being sad about it. And I was like, whoa, wait, are you coming? And it's like, my place looks like an absolute nuclear explosion. Okay, anyway, where was I? False alarm. So, gonna go back to, so yeah, RDF, so, no, I need, oh, okay, we can get rid of this, okay, back to fielding. So, the matter of the uniform interface and the matter of the hypermedia, that's, so you've got this brilliant idea about hypermedia as the engine of application state. And like Sense Atlas in particular really embodies this, right? Like I just had this open, you know, if I just inspect that. It's a freaking dog's breakfast at the moment, but like, who cares? So in this case, you've got like, I don't know how well you can see that. It should be 1020, so it's fine. Oh, 1080, I mean. So, like, first of all, like, what rules about RDF is like your symbols. Like the reason why, I mean, let me back up. Hypermedia is the engine of application state. Super, super, super powerful. I use it all the time, everywhere. I've been using that as a principle, and like I've only just managed to like really, really turn it up in the last couple of years. And then I can do stuff like dangle CSS off of things. Like you can see this like entire bastard like pile of stuff. I use Sass to generate that because like it would be crazy not to. So like in hypermedia as the engine of application state, you have this sort of notion. So you've got the location is the thing, and in this case, in Sense Atlas, the location is the point in the middle of the screen, which corresponds to the lozenge, and then like all of the, you know, you can see the neighbors light up when you go over them. So so what affords this is Intertwingler is just generating the structure. And it's just like literally like the template is just pulling all the pieces in, and it's reading off the graph, and the graph as well is loaded up into like it's basically, yeah, you read off the graph and it compiles the thing based on like the graph statements. The graph statements are connected to elements of the markup. So like the body is, the type of the body is the thing. You can dangle CSS off of that. It's super dirt easy. You go to the main, you go to article, whatever, you go to like all the bits. I don't care about the UI is freaking jank right now, and I just do not, like, that is so not a priority yet. But the RDFA affords, you can like hoover it off just with off-the-shelf RDF stuff, which is super handy. And that's how I'm generating stuff like the graph and whatever. And of course, like I would love to get to a point where I can just spend like months just on the UI and I don't have to think about any of the guts. But where am I here? So yeah, going back to hypermedia as the engine of application state. you have the location in address, like, so in this sort of address space, you've got the location of the current state that you're looking at. In this case, this is the page. And then all of the links represent subsequent states in a state machine. And again, like, I mean, even just going back to this, like, these are all the places you can go. Right? Like, you can jump and skip and you can go, okay, I can go here, you know, of course it's going to take, oh, no, it's not that slow right now. Okay, good. You know, and then you can go to this. Oh, that was just where we were. Whatever, let's just go there. We can go here. So, like, you're stepping through states in a state space. And so it's just like, for me, it's just useful to be able to think like that. That's what I've found. Now, so the problem though, again, when we go back down to, and this was an issue. Now, RDF existed in 2000. I don't know, it's like pretty contemporaneous. It would have been like brand spanking new when Fielding wrote this. But if all you have to go on is an HTML document, you think about the kinds of semantics that an HTML document is capable of expressing. Well, you know, we can actually just go and look, because, you know, you can count them. Like, you've got links, which are just links. You've got images. You got like embed, object, iframe, and frame, and you've got I think that's it. But and then you've got these link types, alternate, style sheet, blah blah blah. So you've got this sort of controlled vocabulary that might be good for some, like it might, you know, like you might be able to get something out of it, but, you know, they're kind of ambiguous, you know, sort of maybe like they're not really very helpful. They don't really tell you much. But like link, rel, whatever, like that's where that goes. And I think like if you look at the, I don't know. Well, whatever. Link types. Yeah, okay. So they're almost all the same. There's like new ones, there's like canonical and DNS prefix, and blah, blah, blah. There's all that kind of crap. But like there's not really like, they're not really, like there's no real semantics there. And like sure there's stuff like, what's it called? What am I thinking here? There's like micro formats and, you know, all that stuff. But again, like I've never liked micro formats. I don't like, cause they're ambiguous. Like this is the thing with all that stuff. It's all ambiguous. You know, same goes with like Markdown. Like Markdown is ambiguous as hell. And, you know, like I remember the attitude of the people who were working on HTML5 when it was still called HTML5. And they were like, oh, you know, like we don't really care about data semantics because like we can just AI it. And I just thought that was really like not only was it glib, I think it was also kind of naive. And I don't have any trouble saying that. And I mean, you know, not to name names or anything like that, but like, no, I'm not going to bother. But the point is that like you need more stuff than what's on this screen. This is just crap for developers. So it doesn't. None of that, you can't turn anything of this into information relevant to the application itself, right? Whereas over here with this guy, you absolutely can. Like this is like just even the fact that I can color all of this stuff with CSS, like 100% implies that the application specific, germane to the application itself. And it's just a simple example of that, right? And so, like the reason why, and so I would say like the issue with REST, again, to go back to the 2000 version, and of course I don't mean REST the what's it called? I don't mean REST in the podcast bro sense or whatever. I mean it in the sense of the guy who coined the term, invented the concept. What was missing at the time was these exact data semantics, because it's like so you've got again. People are like, we're going to have like a REST API, and then we're going to have all the different HTTP verbs, and we're going to map this to that and do these different things. And sure, of course your browser can't issue a put request, or a patch request for that matter. So you're going to need to do, something in that regard. The point is, like if you think about a resource, and I'm going to go back to the drawing. So like a resource, and not everybody's going to agree with me about this, but in HTTP, a resource, like an information resource, it's a many-to-many mapping between URIs and representation. Right? It's this sort of many-to-many mapping. You got to think of it as like a cloud, like a point cloud of URIs and representations. And they can vary along multiple dimensions. So they can vary, and this is where people disagree with me, but I'm not worried about it. So content type. So is the one very important one. Language. So there are two that are interesting and two that are boring. So I cut my teeth with content negotiation back in 2002. We had a bunch of sites, and they were all content negotiated, multi-language. Those are the two interesting ones, charset and encoding, which are the two ones that are boring. Encoding as in compression, charset is in encoding. But these are the two. And then there's they tried to be more, but they're not. There's also, interestingly enough, there's a prefer header, which has interesting properties that I want to be a bastard about and try out. But like, so you sort of think, and then of course there's the verb, which is an addition in HTTP. And so like all of this is bundled up. That's one resource, and that is powerful. That is extraordinarily powerful. Because, and I mean, if you're doing microservices, just as a for instance, like you can imagine your microservice as just like a bundle of at least one URL, at least one resource, right? And it'll respond to requests to like at least one URL on at least one request method. And then it'll return a content type of at least one representation of a content type. And the simplest thing in that space is a file. Actually, the simpler one is a blob, because a blob doesn't even have a file name outside of its, existence as a blob. It's just a blob. It'll have a, cryptographic hash or something like that. So, the idea is like, this is your basic target. This is what this does, is it makes the resource the basic target. Like, that's the thing that you're producing. And then again, like, again, going back to this idea of like, instead of like filling out the entire area, you've just got the app side and then you've got the transform side. And so if, for example, like all we're going to do is we're going to make like a crappy little shell script that poops out a piece of JSON LD or something like that on this particular URL, and 404 is otherwise, then the idea there is, that's just like a dumb, crappy little script that you can just do, and you can do it in 2 minutes, and you don't even need to fire up a freaking, Claude or any crap like that. You just write it, because it's easier to do than to describe it to. It's just easy to do rather than it is to describe it to the damn bot. So like that is to me, like that is the core of the power of this paradigm, is that you can make these things and just these things. And then you can rely on the transformation stuff. And then of course the fact that it's cached and all that, whatever. But the fact that you can create, that you're operating at the level of resources. Now, Intertwingler, like one of the things that it does is it deals with all of the rewriting, and it deals with all the transformations. Again, if I go like flow diagram, this is open somewhere. Where is it? Yeah. Oh, there we go. So, again, these are all microservices. These are all microservices. This is even microservices in here too. The rest is the engine. And so what Intertwingler is doing is it's acting as a bus for these microservices. And so your job as a developer, on the condition that there isn't already one of these microservices that does what you need, then your job is to just make the one microservice, whatever that is. That's your job. And so, so this thing runs, the user comes in, blah, blah, they request a URL, cool. The request goes through transformations, comes to the dispatcher, and like, just as a for instance, the kind of transformations that I'm thinking that the request is going to would do is when you transform the request, I should say. So say for example, like it'll change the accept header. It'll be like, oh, this accept header, whatever. It'll change or it'll manipulate the header. It will, or it'll, it could manipulate the request body. So let's say that, say for example, the thing that makes it possible to manipulate the graph in Sense Atlas is this protocol that I designed. Well, if I made that protocol into a input handler or transform handler, which I'm going to be doing, and I made it output LD patch, just as a for instance, then I just have this little nugget of code that just transforms one thing into the other, and then downstream of that, I mean, like anything that can handle LD patch, then just works. So that's kind of the idea with that. So I'm going to just go back to, the drawing. So yeah, the idea that that the target, what you're doing when you are making one of these things, you're making a microservice. You can write it in any goddamn language you want, as long as I'm still designing. This is still vapor, but basically I've got handler, manifest, protocol. Handler manifest protocol. So what it does is it's basically, I'm not too sure what the mechanism is going to look like yet, but the thing is what you would do is when you write your microservice, you also write this handler manifest. And Intertwingler is going to be expecting that. And so when you plug in you basically just notify, you would configure the existence of your microservice in the Intertwingler config, which is all online, by the way. We're going to be making it, and by we I mean me, we're going to be making it so that you can edit the configuration hot, and it'll actually change the configuration of Intertwingler while it's live through the web. There's a configuration file for Intertwingler that is not that, and all it does is it tells it where to go looking for the rest of the configuration. That's all that's all the boring configuration file does. But anyway, I'm digressing. Did I not? No, I didn't. Okay, it doesn't matter. The goal is to make it incredibly well-defined development targets. It's all you got to do is you got to make a microservice just does this, and it'll go into the system. It'll go into here somewhere, wherever it needs to go, wherever it's inside the box, and it'll sort out where it needs to go, and then the dispatcher, the engine, takes care of the rest. Literally takes care of the representational state transfer. And so that's kind of the plan. There's a difference in here that I think this is not accurate anymore, to the extent that I think the reverse proxy would not live in here. It would live in here. Other than that, this is still accurate. Yeah. So going back to, where are we here? Going back to semantic REST, the idea is the thing that was missing. Again, let's go back to fielding. Or no. Give me a second. Where's my brain? So yeah, in my opinion, the thing that was missing is basically the type system. It's the type system that makes it possible to make things like this dirt easy, embarrassingly easy. Because it's wouldn't it be nice? I don't know about you, but I find rejiggering the template stuff, I mean, whatever, but having to, or stitching together. What the hell? Went offline again on. What the frick? Did it go offline? I don't know. It says it's offline. It's definitely online on Twitch and YouTube. Okay, who knows? Nope, there it goes again. Nope, there it goes again and again. Okay, are you working now? I can't tell. Weird. So one thing that I've had to do to interface with Streamplace is pipe through S-Tunnel. But I can't remember what direction that was. Nope, offline again. I can't tell if I'm really offline or if I am, it's only saying I'm offline. Because the thingy-majig is going still, right? Like the I am confuzz. Okay, I'm online. Weird. Weird. Oh, no, it's offline again. No, it's online. No, it's offline. No, it's just unbelievably choking out hard. Choking the checking. Checking. Choking. Yeah, it keeps like, it just keeps saying you're offline, but it's like, am I? I don't know. And then that trips me up and I'm like, Anyway, okay. It works now, right? It works? Okay, good. So, did I make myself clear about the powerful thing about REST in the first place? Is we got the resource orientation. We're making resources, and then they are like Lego. You plug them together, and the uniform interface is like the studs on the Lego, right? Where's some Lego? Here's some Lego. Right. That's the Mars rover. Get up there, you old bastard. Okay, there's some Lego. And you can plug it together, and it freaking works. And that's what's so freaking good about it, is that, you know, uniform interface, right? Like the plug, okay, like you got the aspect, like the cool thing about Lego, like what makes Lego kick ass so much is that they've nailed down the aspect ratio. They've nailed down like how many newtons of force does it take to plug in and take apart the piece of Lego, right? How the colors, they got the palette of colors, they're all nailed down, right? There's this fixed palette of colors. This is all the colors that you get. Anything else is no bueno. You've got, what else that is, yeah, so the aspect ratio, the force, the geometry in general, you know, they figured out the system and how the system is going to behave. And what I'm saying with this design is like I am trying to make like, so like the resource is the Lego piece. And then, you know, just like a Lego piece has got like a particular configuration and it's got particular, each Lego piece has its own affordances. Like you want to make it so that the resources in your hypermedia system, your hypermedia resources, like have their concrete affordances. And then like it changes the way that you make websites too, because you're not thinking about pages anymore. You're thinking about like, what is the structure and the semantics of each one of these resources? Like what is the, like, you know, what does it mean? Like just in for instance, in Sense Atlas, there is a, let me try to remember. There's basically these things that I called, oh yeah. Okay. So they are polymorphic for starters. And it looks like it says I'm offline again on Streamplace, but I'm just going to assume that it's not telling the truth. So this is JSON LD. So it's still RDF. It has all the identical semantics to what it would be. I can force it to cough up HTML. I don't feel like doing that right now. But the bottom line is that the HTML and the JSON LD have the identical, they mean the same thing. They have identical content. And so I call these things catalog resources. And these are, so like when you're like typing out one of these things, like it knows to populate that. So those are just like, so when you're making like sites like this or web apps like this, you you're thinking about okay, like what Lego piece, like if I'm gonna create a new Lego piece, that's basically your relationship at this point to like back-end code. It's like, oh, we need like an entirely new class of Lego piece that doesn't exist in our inventory of, you know, our catalog of Lego pieces. So we have to invent a new Lego piece. Like we've got to invent the wing, or we've got to invent the, you know, whatever. I like this as like an ATM. Where all the other money went? This guy's a little robber. He puts his 100 kroner. His 100 kroner note. What's 100 kroner? It's like $20? 15? I don't know. Anyway. It's green. I don't think 100 kroner is green. I think 100 kroner is blue. But anyway, so yeah, like that is the, so like Fielding has done his job at this point, right? He has described it. But then again, year 2000, freaking Y2K, everybody's wearing yellow sunglasses and giant fat pants, or at least I might have been. But all you had, like your only semantics came from HTML. And that just like, it's like, oh, here's a font, like, cause you got to think of it from the point of view of the system, right? Like what's it saying, right? When you just have vanilla JSON, and like, let's say you've got an object in vanilla JSON, and like one of the values of the object is a string that looks like a URL. Like, how do you know it's a URL? Like programmatically, how do you know? It could just be a string. Right? There's no machine, like you have to imbue that with some kind of represent, like you got to give it the semantics to say like this thing is a URL, right? Vanilla JSON does not have that. Okay, JSON schema with the like hypertext extension, or like the JSON schema, people have been thinking about that. Obviously, like they understand why they need that, because you can't. This is the thing, is like if you just get back a piece of JSON, you're like, what is it? What is any of this, right? Like you need to put in code that says, well, this means that and that means that. Like, well, that's dumb. That's a humongous, like, and then you got to do that every time. You know, that's a consummate waste of freaking effort, man. Like that. Why would you do that to yourself? That's silly, you know? And so the reason why to use RDF is because it takes care of that. And it's like, well, so does other things. Well, yeah, other things do that. But, you know, let's take a vocab, for example. You know, okay, here's one for organizations, right? I didn't make this. This is the thing. Like, you go online and, you know, or let's just go to the big guy. Still says I'm offline, even though apparently I'm online. Whatever. So we got a shit ton of vocabs. All right. This is like the NPM. Oh wait, I did it again. There you go. That's why I can't see myself. I forget sometimes. Anyway. So let me try to refresh this again because it's goofed. It says I'm offline again. Just going to make that bigger. Nope. That's what I wanted. Anyway. Time is it? 4 p.m. When did I get started on this? Like 2 something? It's all right. It's Friday. It's apparently Whiskey Friday. I don't have any whiskey. I should remedy that. But not right now because I'm sitting here laved in. You can't like DoorDash that stuff because I'll have to go down and get it. That would be funny. Nobody actually comes to your actual door. Freaking false advertising. Yeah, we're still reading is offline, but it says we're on. I'm just gonna pretend. Anyway, the reason why, like reason number 47 million, like why you might care about making your data representation in RDF is because you can just go to the NPM of vocabularies. With the caveat that they're not especially, like a bunch of them are definitely abandonware, but they're abandonware because nobody loves them. They're not getting enough love. More people love them, there would be more maintenance on these things. But there's 903. And yeah, I mean, when you think about, where are we with like lexicon.garden, I think it was. Yes. So is that it? Oh. I don't know what this is. Doesn't matter. Oh, I'm back online again on stream. Place of stream. Look at that. Oops. So I'm looking at this. These. I'm pretty confident a bunch of these I can like. If we had a map that takes these things to like to shackle or something like that. Like I'm fairly confident that we can translate, and if we just need to, whatever, we can transform it. It's fine. Yeah. Again, I don't know what this is, but it doesn't matter that I don't know what it is. But like, you got more or less this. I didn't do that. A lot of lexicons though, from 117 identities. The reason why I still stick with RDF though is because, so here are some of mine. And we can look at so first of all, and I mean, there we go. So, first things first is this prose specification is also the actual machine actionable one, right? We like the term machine actionable because, like, if it's digital, it's like ipso facto machine readable, because like how else are you reading it if the machine isn't reading it? Of course, the machine can't make any sense of it, which is the cardinal difference is like, can the machine do anything other than display it for you? If yes, then it's machine actionable. If no, it's not. I prefer the term computable over machine actionable. Oh, it's gone out again. Computable, sort of, machine actionable is like a mouthful. Computable is clear. But yeah, these vocabularies are all, so when you go, I can cheat. We can go and we can get the turtle representation, or we can get the XML representation, right? These are all equivalent, with the caveat that, of course, there's extra stuff that is text that is so to make it look nicer. And then obviously these diagrams. These diagrams are hand done for now, but they could theoretically not be. They're mainly hand done because I'm like freaking. You usually want to poke around with them anyway. There's usually some sort of editorial oversight with them for some value of the term. But I mean, the other thing about RDF is like you've got OWL, you got Shackle, you got RDF schema, and you can use those to represent. You can use those to represent kinds of relationships, like subclasses. But the thing about the object model, to the extent that you can call it that in RDF, is not that like the thing is a member of the class. Like instead, it's like got a class as a property. So like it's got the RDF like subject, RDF type, whatever class. And you can even see, so when I go back to, where are we running out of things? Again, when I go back to something like this, let's just take that into this and we can RDF serialize input format. RDFA, host, language, XHTML5, I think that's right. And then output format, JSON LD, boop. Bada bing, right? You curl that. It's the thing. It's the web page, right? And here's the JSON LD again, right? Again, I am transforming that on the fly. That's JSON. I could do it in Turtle if I wanted. Again, bada bing. Do it in JSON LD again, set the pipe through JQ. You can see the syntax highlighting. So, now, my understanding is like people don't like namespaces because they are whiny little babies. And it's true that you're whiny little babies. No, namespaces are like kind of necessary, but like one of the interesting things about JSON LD is it has a context. Let's try to find the specification. So JSON LD contexts are pretty much like, so you can stick them in a link header. And that's what this looks like. And then you can just basically make, like you can basically split, so you can have the vanilla JSON and then you can have the JSON LD, and then it's just like this sort of a naive like character transform. And so that's handy. So let's just, why don't we put representations in here like JSON. So this is basically just me getting messy and going all over the place, but the best I understand is that I am sitting here all by myself now, unless somebody's watching me on Streamplace, but I can't tell because it says I'm offline. Oh, wait, nope, yes, nope. They got to be working on that. I don't know, is Eli working on the what's it called, dashboard? If that's the case, fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. Oh, that rules. I just looked at this, the live thingy. You just hover over it, and it. Oh, that rules. Okay, that's cool. Oh, it's back. I mean, theoretically, it was never gone because the streamy guy was going. Okay. Doesn't matter. So I'm kind of like I am like orbiting around a move that there. I'm orbiting around a syllabus here for semantic REST. Actually, let's go to this. Oh yeah. So resources. Oops. Resources. Oh, it went dead again. So resources. What? Oh yeah. Here's a bunch of RDF. This is what it looks like. This is a bunch of instance data for my website, doriataylor.com. So resources. What is a resource? How about? Actually, I'm going to say like REST basics. Yeah, don't do that. More than just APIs. Hypertext. Uniform interface. I mean, I could just go through the thing, but what was missing? HTML. In 2000, HTML was the only viable hypertext format. Barely any semantics. Let's call it denotational semantics. I always forget like what denotational and operational, and I mean I know maybe you can hear what it sounds like, but anyway. I just whatever. Barely any formal semantics. You know, you can tell when a thing is a form. You know, uniform interface, a layered system. Is that what they all were? Where are you fielding? Code on demand. In order to obtain the uniform interface. I mean, really, the uniform interface is really what you're after. It's like what I was saying about the Lego, like, you know. So the target is the uniform interface. Okay. So need a new media format. I pick RDF. So then there's going to be like YRDF. I'm calling that the symbol management problem. You have a bunch of symbols that you have to manage, and this is a problem. That's the symbol management problem. You know, when you sort of think about, like, you know, again, we're going to go back to this. How many CSS classes do you think are in this? This many. There's zero. Zero CSS classes. It's all attribute selectors. Now, I'm a psychopath, apparently. I think this is a good idea. I actually do think it's a good idea. And you can like quibble that like, oh, like attribute selectors aren't as fast as freaking class names. I mean, fine, you can go and transform it into class names if you absolutely must. I do that for newsletters, by the way. But I mean, it's both. It's a dog's breakfast. I do that for newsletters because you have to. But yeah, this is all attribute selectors. It's all generated from Sass. Freaking Sass rules. Yeah, so the symbol management problem is like you can outsource all the symbols. You can also, if it wasn't clear, where's one of those vocabs? Everything that this URL is the identifier for the class, the type. So when I go to this, and if I dereference that, I wonder if I can. Oh, I know what I can do. I can do output format in triples. So I'm going to make it dump this out to n triples first, and then I'm going to RDF serialize input format n triples output format JSON LD. Actually, whatever. So you're gonna let me do that? Yeah. Okay. This is what's going on here. Select that. Can I do that? Can I copy that? I'm just trying out vterm, but if I, yeah, okay. No. I guess that doesn't. Hello, buddy. Nope, I guess that doesn't do that. I should look up the specs for vterm, for how to do selecting a vterm. Do I do that? No. That doesn't work anymore. What I should do is before I go online, I should actually look up stuff. Look up how to do the thing instead of raw dogging the damn some new thing, which is apparently I always do that. Apparently it still says I'm offline, but I don't think it's true. I mean, I know it isn't. I mean, you get the freaking point though. Like that URL is the thing. So when we go back to these are all URLs you can visit. They are all, and of course, and when you look at the difference, you can see that these all have namespaces, or they have like, you know, PM task. Okay, and I go to here again. Oh, that was the same one. No, it's not. You know, it's the full URL. So the bottom line is you can dereference the URLs. So if you ever want, like, the beauty of doing stuff in RDF is that You make the prose spec, you embed the machine actionable, the computable spec into the prose. And then you make it so that the address of the thing is the identifier. And so like you click on that and the doc is right there for the thing. Beautiful. So unbelievably freaking clean and sensible. Now, not everybody does that. So when you go to like, I would say like not even the majority, like not even any of the, like the, it's just their hygiene sucks ass. But like a lot of that has to do with the fact that a lot of these are real old. You know, like Thoth has been around for 25 years. And, you know, it works. It's good enough. And if you need to extend it, you just extend it. You just sort of say like, I'm going to make a little thing over here. And I mean, that's what org is. But I mean, so I would like to see, you know, more, let's go to the task here. This is what I was trying to do. You know, here's the spec for the thing. If you clicked on that for some reason, okay, I'm just going to look up mouse. Emacs vterm mouse copy. That's not what I want. Region is selected as possible vterm copy mode. Well, how do you do that? Enter. Okay. No. Oh. CT. Do enter. There it is. Jesus. Okay. Anyway, you get it. Oh my god. This thing is still goofed. Oh, no, there it goes again. Is it my end? It can't be my end because would I be getting error? I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's not my end because Christian just sent me a freaking thing. Fantasky.pmd.social. Stream.place is at Proto's answer to Twitch. Eli made it. And it is its own thing. It's got nothing to do with Blue Sky other than it runs on the on AppProto. And it freaking rules as long as it doesn't keep kicking me off or saying it's kicking me off, but not actually kicking me off and then make me wonder if I've been kicked off. Yeah, it's not, I mean, I am simulcasting on Twitch, YouTube, and Streamplace all at the same time. I'm just doing that from my own backhand. Yeah, this thing is still goofed again. Yeah, that's just because I set that up because I know how to set that up. Anyway, let's go back to we're going to go, so, do resources. We're going to do pipes with types. Actually, we're going to call that layered system. And then we call that pipes with types. So the idea is, again, you can make microservices a microservice, learn to type, write them like Unix commands. Typed pipes, insanely powerful. Client side. Content negotiation is good, actually. Robin Bergeron, if you are watching. We just had a thing yesterday, or I jumped on a thing for content addressable identifiers. Eli was on there as well, actually. And we were just going off about content negotiation. I'm a big fan of content negotiation. I think content negotiation is freaking awesome. There's a reason why you wouldn't like it, and that is being able to hash the thing. And then, of course, like if you're dealing, like if you work at a CDN, I'm sure you don't like conneg, but I think content negotiation is freaking cool as hell, and I like it, and I make Intertwingler do content negotiation. I think it's great. Granted, most of I was doing stuff like the predated CDNs. I just think they should sack up and write the code, man. I think if you had more origins that were doing content negotiation, I think that the downstream guys would get it more. And again, like part of the reason for Intertwingler, like part of what it does for you is it deals with that kind of stuff. So, RC 9530 RC. Is it 9530? Oops. Yes, it is. I always forget org modes different enough from Markdown to be different, like the link formats and crap. Anyway. So what is a resource? Polymorphic object. It is a mapping of, actually, we're not actually doing this right now. We are doing mean, it's a mapping of addresses to representations. Ooh, yeah, so URLs. Dids. Whatever. Durable versus, human readable, basically, dereferenceable. Perma versus time dependent. Like, if you look at like Fielding's example is like, what is the news today? And like whatever is the news today is whatever is on today. And, and if it's tomorrow, then it's going to be tomorrow's. If it's yesterday, then it was yesterday's news. It is, it's today. Whatever today is, that's what it is. And then you've got the ones where like, January 16th, 2026, this is the news. And it doesn't matter what day you visit it, that's going to be the thing. So that's a sort of, aspect of that. What I prefer, so like I like query parameters or parameters, query parameters, path parameters. I like path parameters. And the reason why I like path parameters is because you can control addressable transforms. Makes a derivative URL. Right? So the URL is a programmatic like derivation of where's my brain? Programmatic derivation of the original, right? So like the example I would give is like an image, like, here's the URL for the image, crop, resize, whatever. And you could like basically stack on. So it's like crop, resize, invert, etc. And so you've got like image, whatever. You got one like that. Oh yes, of course. I mean, we should all know that there are no file format or trailing slash is BS. If there's no file extensions are BS. Okay. Content location. Anyway, those are URLs. So, I know what's in opaque versus transparent, sampled versus computed. So, these are terms that I came up with a long time ago. The idea of like opaque versus like an opaque resource is like you have an information system, you got an information resource on that information system. It's opaque to the extent that like all we know about it is some bytes, right? We don't know anything about where like we can't see into it. Like we don't know any, we're not trying to read it. We're not trying to interpret it in any way. It's just some bytes. I should probably do something on caching because caching is important. definitely, oops. Hypertext is the, yeah. Hojillion, like a dozen. Dozen different serializations. JSON LD is brilliant. RDFA is super useful. Put it in your HTML. Put it in your SVG. Okay. Why? Because this is SVG. It just uses the same. It just uses RDFA. You want to look at it. You got embedded RDFA in the SVG. You want to look at the CSS. You got the damn friggin'. Why are there all issues? Are there issues? Is there anything that's not an issue? There's one that's. Anyway. I don't understand why it doesn't. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. You get it. You get the idea. Stupid front-end tricks. CSS with RDFA. JavaScript. Sponging. JavaScript. Connig. The thing, actually, where's HADOS? HADOS. Oh, yeah. The thing about HADOS, is you don't have to know where anything is. It tells you. System tells you. You know, when you sort of think about like when you're doing stuff like one of the things that I think is hilarious about sorry, I'm just looking at what is that? Okay. Where's my brain? Can tell it's like almost time for a food because I'm getting pissy. Whatever. I think we're sort of like, we're kind of getting here, right? So this is a sort of a 90-minute, like, I'm going to do 2 format, or 3 rather. Or rather, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do a, for corporates, right? If you want to hire me to teach you this shit, like you can do that. You can, if you can't do that personally, you know, get your boss to talk to me. I can do this in two formats. I can do it in like a 90-minute top line seminar. All right, I've been on here for 2 hours and change, right? So I'll prune that down. I'll do 90 minutes. There could be Q&A, like examples, whatever. Or it'll probably not be all of this, or a half-day workshop, deep divey, whatever, where we go get really into it with like exercises and crap. So that'll be the corporate one, and the other side of it is I'm gonna chop it up and do like 45-minute like Udemy kind of thing, coursey whatevers. And those will be retail, and those will be like individuals, your dev, whatever. You can go and you can plug your credit card in and get at some of this. So that was sort of the purpose of this. You know, to get these kind of figured out, get this kind of stuff. You know, so yeah, this is the syllabus, you know, for lack of a better term. Oh my God, I just realized that on Streamplace it's still yesterday's banner. God damn it. I did this entire thing with yesterday's banner on Streamplace. I need to sort of just collect my brain here for a second. I think that's it, though. I think this is good. I think this is the beginning of something. Just call this conneg in JavaScript. Oops. And actually, you know what? Like, just now that I'm thinking about it, like in this model, like conneg is not just, it's not just a cool thing. It's not just a flex. Like it's not just a nice to have. Like conneg is actually really core to this. Especially when you're doing front end. Yeah. Okay, so caching, yes, you need caching. Yes, it should be HTTP. Caching. Yeah. Okay. I am going to pack it in here because I got what I wanted. I hope this was useful to other people. Did that work? Why did that not work?